Welcome back everybody to my channel, and today we're going to be unboxing Battletech Encounters. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is a standalone push your luck dice game, just with the Battletech theme. This is not my first copy, full disclaimer. This is actually my second copy of this game. You can pick it up at Barnes & Noble right now. It will be available more places later on. The reason I bought a second copy is because I actually have my first copy signed by Randall Bills, and I kind of don't want to rub that off at all, so this is more my travel copy. Retails for $30. I managed to find this one in person. But I've typically just seen that it's available online from Barnes & Noble. So, some noticeable things I want to point out with the box. You can't really see it on camera. The mech here right on the front is actually a different sheen from the background. So it's got a little bit of a different shine to it. It's also harder to see with the plastic wrap on the box, but it is a really nice detail, makes it pop a little bit more, and I really like it. The box is very different from all the other box sets currently out. We're featuring McCarran's Armored Cavalry, which is very bright, and we're using a lot more bright colors rather than dark colors, so it's very unique. The Devastator right there up front. Nothing too crazy on the sides, but I have actually been told, being that my first copy was signed by Randall Bills, that these three images, or two images I suppose, are both part of a bigger image. This is on the far right hand side of the image, this is on the left hand side, and it is a much bigger image that I believe will be in the Battletech Universe book. So let's get right into this. We've got basically there's contract cards, equipment cards, encounter cards, oversized combat command cards, and dice and tokens and stuff. Big thing to note, I probably not supposed to say this right now, but I know there is another oversized combat command card that they were planning on releasing at Gen Con, but since this technically hasn't been released, they decided not to give them out at Gen Con. I might tease a little later what that card is, but I have seen it in person before, so not printed out, but like a digital copy on a phone. So without further ado, let's crack it open. I found this game to be a lot of fun. It's very quick compared to classic Battletech or Alpha Strike. It's a lot easier to play with people that aren't necessarily into war games. It's more of a board game style. I mean, it is a dice and card game, so let's see if we can see this front cover a little bit better. Yeah, you can see that he shines a little bit more than the background, and I believe so does the logo. The Battletech Encounters logo up there up top. Looks very nice. We've got the 40th anniversary Marauder. Little fun fact about the 40th anniversary logo. There was a draft from Catalyst that has never been shown publicly, and they only did it for a second. But they put a warhammer. They put a warhammer in front of the 40. So fun little tidbit for you. So right off the bat, we have the primer. Fun little read. Nothing too crazy. Just kind of going over the houses and mercenaries. The houses is a little weird to cover in a board game that's primarily focused on mercenaries, but it is part of the lore, I suppose. This set doesn't necessarily have a specific era that it's in, but you could consider it to be clan invasion-ish. I don't know all the lore behind the mercenary companies, so I couldn't tell you if it's later or not. Here is the rule book. One thing I will say is I don't feel like this rule book was laid out very well. I've played this with multiple people, different events and stuff. I've played it individually, like one player playing, and I've played it all the way up to, I think, 5. So I've played 1 through 5. You can go up to 8. I think with the current rules, 3 is necessary, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this could be a really fun game to play one player or 2 player. So first things first, or next thing I suppose, we have the C-bills. We have 1 C-bill and 5 C-bills. I have never used all of them. I imagine that maybe you might in an 8-player game. Just haven't had a need to, where most of my games are just me and one other person, so haven't had a need to yet. And even with a 5-player game, we didn't go through them all. Here we have the Noble Patronage token and the Censor token. These 2 tokens are kind of like catch-up / slow down tokens. Noble Patronage helps you if you're a little behind. Censor token handicaps you a little bit if you're a little ahead, sort of thing. These 2 tokens and these 2 mechanisms are why I say this game's not quite the best for single or dual player, and is almost better for 3 or more. Then these here are your reputation tokens. Typically, I think the rules say, if I remember right, it's either 8 or 10 reputation wins the game. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you can totally adjust that depending on, how long of a game you want to do and such. Kind of up to you. We typically do 10, so it's been a little minute since I've played it, but yeah, they look really nice. These are solid tokens. It's just always good to have. These dice are not my favorite dice in the world, but I do like the colors. So let's pour them all out real quick. So you have 4 of each of the colored dice. And the colors are yellow, black, blue, and green. And then you have 5 of the white dice. So these are kind of your equipment, per se. So imagine it like black is your melee equipment, which, if memory serves me right, I think black is melee, yellow is lasers, green is missiles, and blue is like your AC-20s, it's ballistics, if I remember right. And then white is going to be your personnel. I don't like these dice because I like dice with more rounded curves to the edges. Here, let me grab something that's kind of what I'm talking about. This is a much larger D6, but I like these more rounded corners over the more straight corners. I don't like these straight corners as much. I want my dice to roll, but maybe that's personal preference. I do really like the colors though. The blue is a nice blue. I just love it. I kind of wish it matched the color of the cards a little bit more. So this blue kind of matches up here, blue, but the background blue is a little bit of a different blue. So kind of wish they matched a little better, but that's okay. You get the point that it's for those cards. So these here are your contract well, these are both your contract and equipment cards in this particular package. If I can get it open. But every turn you'll take a contract, potentially more than one, or you may steal a contract, but that's a different mechanism. And you're just completing that contract. If you complete a contract, you may choose to extend a contract and go on to a second one or whatever it may be. But I'm just pulling out the equipment cards. So these would be shuffled and you'd draw them and purchase them and such. So yeah, blue is your ballistics. Yellow is your energy weapons. Side note, I don't recall what PPCs fall under. Black is your armor and melee. And green is going to be your missiles. And then these are, they don't really have a color. White, they're just standard equipment. It's all kinds of other things like mask, engines, targeting computers, stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't quite fit into a weapon category, but it's still essential equipment. And it's kind of bothering me what a PPC falls under. Energy weapons. So, but you'll see on a lot of these cards, like set any 2 yellow and 2 white. So if you had 2 yellow dice and 2 white dice, you could set them to a number. And that's just a special of that card. And then these are your contract cards. There's a lot of fun ones in here. Different things. Some of them are specific. So like Planetary Assault Northwind, for example, gets the Northwind Highlanders get a bonus on this one. So, different things. Just garrison duty, technology raid, escort duty, deep raid. Lots of stuff. Change things up a little bit. I haven't found these to become stale. They're different every time, so I don't see a need for more of these necessarily. Maybe a few more, but I haven't found a need yet. Maybe a few more different equipment might be interesting, but I haven't found like a reason for having more equipment. This game plays really well. You're probably not going to get through a whole lot of the equipment cards per game, and it's very replayable, so I don't foresee something being needed, but never know what Catalyst will do. These are your encounter cards. These are the cards you got to beat to complete a contract card. There's a lot of them. Some of them are more difficult than others. So the number you got to beat here is in the top right corner, and you have to actually match it. So say I was playing the Wolf's Dragoons here, and we'll get to this in a second. But you have 5 white dice and a green die. You roll your 5 white and your green, and say you pull a Recon Lance card. One of your die has to be a 1, unless one of these modifies a value or something in order to defeat this card. And so one, it has to be a 1. It can't be more than a 1. It has to be a 1. So those can be kind of rough. Or you get something like a Lost Tech Recon Lance. This is the only one of this card, and it has to be defeated twice with the same roll of dice. So you have to get like 2 2s, and it can be rough. That can be a game-ending card, or a round-ending card. And these go all the way up to, I believe, 14. Oh, 13. Clan Command Star. So, lots of different cards. Again, I haven't found these to become stale. Maybe a few more of these could be mixed in at a later date. Who knows? See what Catalyst does. These, on the other hand, I could go for more of. And I kind of hinted to earlier that Catalyst has designed, at least to my knowledge, one more of these. And it was going to be released at Gen Con, but it was not officially released because they decided that this game hasn't been released yet. So we have, of course, the Wolves Dragoons. This is my favorite mercenary company. I grew up playing the Mech Assault series, so very familiar with the Wolves Dragoons. My favorite. We also have the Grey Death Legion. Hellhounds. I really enjoyed these three. 21st Centauri Lancers. I don't know anything about them. However, this special here, you cannot receive the sensor token. If you would receive it, discard it instead. If you draw the Moral Quandary encounter, discard it and draw again. That's huge. So helpful in certain situations. I can really help get you out of some nasty situations. Eridani Light Horse. Again, I don't know much about them, but they're fun. Northwind Highlanders. Another classic. McCarran's Armored Cavalry. You can see a little bit more of that cover art on here. And the Waco Rangers. So, every single one of these cards in the base game comes with will give you 5 white die and a colored die. The currently unannounced card changes that up a little bit. And I think you could really have some fun with this. I did play around with the thought of you could have a mercenary group or a pirate group as 2 white and 1 of each of the other colors. Make for some interesting scenarios. You could do like the New Belt Pirates or something. Kind of fun. So that's pretty much all that's in the box. There's no real good way of storing the cards and things right out of the box, which is really disappointing. But luckily, I got a solution for that. And I think the easiest way for me to show that is by bringing out my other box. So I designed and 3D printed inserts for this game because it's a fun game and I really enjoy playing it. And I don't like not having any good sorting mechanism, and this little cardboard thing here is not very stable and it's just awful. I'm not a fan. Anyway, I designed this insert. And these are the encounter cards. They're all sleeved. I'm sure you could fit everything in here without a big sleeved. But whatever, maybe. I could fit more encounter cards in here if an expansion were released. And I could probably design this to fit even more encounter cards. If an expansion was released, these cards I could go for more of. I do think that the game could use a small expansion with some more of those. Rep tokens are in here. I do have 2 sets of white dice in here. I find it a little bit easier than just passing the white die every turn. Especially if you're playing with just 2 people. It's a little bit simpler. But yeah, I've just got all these dice 2 deep. And then the 2 tokens here, more rep tokens. The command cards, I will say that getting the sleeves for these command cards is very challenging. And it's hard to find. In the where I've got the 3D print files available for download, I do have a link to these. No, I don't have a link to where I got these. I will try to find find the link to where I got them and put it in the description. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, they were kind of expensive, and you had to buy a pack of 100, which kind of sucked for only 8 cards. 9, but don't worry about it. I got my equipment cards, my encounter cards, and underneath those are the C-bill tokens. But I will post a link to my 3D print files in the description. You can go print them. I do continuously improve these as time goes on. Right now, I actually have another one printed up for a certain author. So if you can see a little Easter egg in there. And so far, I haven't listed that file for print with the Fox Patrol logo in it, but that's because I am doing it for a specific person, so that's kind of how my inserts work. Thought I'd mention them because storage of all these cards and stuff within this box is not great and not particularly helpful to just open the box and start playing a game, unless you have these like in rubber bands or something. So just see them mushing around and such. So I felt very strongly about doing inserts for this. So anyway, that's my unboxing of Battletech Encounters. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. Bye.